Overwatch 2 has nothing left. It was a sequel that nobody asked for, but Blizzard insisted that we needed, and now it's the game that no one is playing because Marvel Rivals stepped up to show people that—
You mean Overwatch 3, guys? Like, what the hell is Marvel Rivals? I thought this was Overwatch 3, guys.
it's actually possible to succeed in what everybody's calling an oversaturated market just by giving you the respect you deserve as a player, as a consumer, and as a customer. Blizzard, on the other hand—
how that Black Panther play was dog shit. Why are you solo ulting a Doctor Strange as Black Panther? The ult's just so you can literally execute everyone, bro. Like, you should be using that on a whole enemy team, not just one Doctor Strange, you dog shit player.
Has just shown time and time again that the glory days are long gone, and that somewhere along the road they shifted from being a player-oriented company to a wallet-oriented company. Overwatch 2 is the end result of years of ignoring the community's voices and a self-inflated ego from a studio that thought that their dominance over the hero shooter genre was just never gonna end. I mean, to be fair, they did have an unkillable game back in the day, but now with Marvel Rivals, we got a game that feels like it actually wants to give the players what they want. They have developers that are constantly listening to player feedback, and the gameplay itself, you know, to be honest, it feels refreshing. It's chaotic and fun, so it's no surprise why Marvel Rivals just dwarfed Overwatch with its 20 million active players and showing no signs of it slowing down. Actually, the game recently broke 600,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is a massive number for a live service game, and the weirdest part about it is that the players aren't leaving. You know, people are genuinely enjoying the new mechanics that Marvel Rivals brings to the table. The team-ups completely change the way the character picks work on the team, and it's like they aren't trying to get everybody to sweat and play an esport, they just want people to have fun and mess around with their friends. That's why Marvel Rivals isn't interested in adding a role queue at the moment or something. They genuinely love seeing people play the game however they want.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think role queue is the answer to a lot of people's frustrations with comp. I think you just have to make things, you know, like you either have to make characters in these roles that apply, that like appease or appeal more to these other people in these other roles that are making them not want to play that role, or, you know, something like that needs to change.
No, maybe it's too early to tell, and in a few months we'll get a better picture, but this is one of the healthiest Steam charts I've seen in a very long time. And I know—
Sorry, I'm gonna pause one more time, but me personally, I don't understand it, because I feel like if you like DPSing, just play Mantis in support, or Cloak and Dagger, and then just heal while you're doing that DPS. And then if you like DPSing, but you have to play tank, just play Thor. Maybe Groot. Groot can do a lot of DPS if you know how to place his walls and stuff. Who's another one? I feel like all the tanks do pretty decent DPS. Like Doctor Strange can crank out DPS, but like obviously I think Thor's a little better at that. But it kind of depends on the, you know, who you're going against.
That we can't really compare it to Overwatch 2's Steam chart since most of the players are using the Battle.net launcher anyways, but when you look at how their Steam reviews are nothing but negative sentiments towards the game, well, it's pretty easy to get the overall opinion of what people feel about the current state of Overwatch 2. You know, it's a disaster. And that's not to knock on Overwatch's history and how the game basically defined an entire genre. I mean, just like how Fortnite was the Battle Royale game, Super Smash Bros. Was the platform fighter, while Overwatch also had its moment back in 2016 where it cemented itself as the go-to staple for anybody who wanted to get into hero shooters. Yeah. It's actually really funny to see whenever I'm doing research on dead hero shooters to talk about, and so many of them from back in the day always just boil down to, oh, it was unfortunately forced to compete with Overwatch, that's why it failed. That's how massive Overwatch was back in the day. It was on an entire league of its own compared to the other hero shooters. Like, I remember back in the day, even the tiniest patch note that Overwatch threw out was enough to get everybody talking about it on social media. You could see all the headlines on the Game Journal websites about every new hero that was added into the game. It was just an ongoing conversation with Overwatch, so you can just imagine my surprise when I got back into the game recently and I saw that they released a whole new season with a brand new character called Hazard and everything back in December, and there wasn't a single peep about it on the news. Nobody was talking about it. That's how much of an impact Marvel Rivals has made on the market.
You know how the only reason I know Hazard is a thing? Because people used it in the thumbnail with Marvel Rivals. Like, they would show a picture of that promotion and then Marvel Rivals.
Responded to what the players wanted with an actual good product, and it's just completely taken over the hero shooter scene. So I got back into Overwatch 2 recently to play a few games and sort of just browse around everything that the game has to offer, because I wanted to genuinely see the current state of the game for myself. You know, I was asking myself, hey, what could Overwatch do if they wanted to turn things around, if they could pull some sort of ace from their sleeve to win back the community's trust? What is it that, you know, what's the answer here? Because they've broken the community's trust over the years. They've done so much wrong that it really really just begs the question if they really do have something that they can do, or does Overwatch 2 really have nothing left? And
I'm gonna be honest, even if Overwatch somehow like got a futuristic game-breaking game mechanic like workaround that like made the game feel more addictive and more amazing to play than Marvel Rivals, I would still not play it just on the because that I didn't even quit I quitted Overwatch before the gameplay got bad again. I quitted when they started adding all the crazy monetizations, when they tried to sell their PvE shit that wasn't even what they promised. It was like a half-assed quarter of what they, promised for 60, 30 bucks. It was 30 to 60 bucks depending on what you were buying. It's like, so that's one negative. Then you have the skins have gone up in price. Now like every skin is like 60 bucks, 30 to 60 bucks. And then, which it's like, yes, skins are skins, but still the fact that you have the goal to sell them for that much just shows that you disrespect your community. And that, like, for example, look at League of Legends. Now they're selling $200 skins. Like, do you think your community and like your fan base is like, wow, thanks? Like, what if I told you guys, here, let me give you guys this shirt for 10, 20 bucks, right? And then I upped it to $60. Like, if it was $60 originally, whatever. But if I'm upping it to $60 because it's selling well, wouldn't you guys feel like, oh, this guy's just a money-hungry asshole who's just trying to, penny pinch me and basically, like, doesn't care about us or, like, doesn't want us to, like, just wants to milk us for money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically how every Blizzard game feels. Like, you go to Diablo, you go to Overwatch, and the fact is, like, it's not only that these games have these horrible monetization things, it's the fact that they play worse than their other competition. Like, Diablo plays worse than Path of Exiles 2. Overwatch plays worse than Marvel Rivals. What's another freaking Blizzard game? I can't think of it. World of Warcraft? Like, no one plays World of Warcraft anymore unless you're a streamer that's trying to keep it alive, or you're a freaking 40-year-old man, like, or girl, you know what I mean? Like, I know there's girls that play that game too. Like, I tried to get into that shit. It's boring, bro. Like, it sucks. Now, maybe like classic is good, but like retail, goddamn, that shit's boring.
Spoiler alert, I don't think we're getting a No Man's Sky type of redemption arc here. But getting back to the game in 2025, I gotta say that you almost immediately get hit with a wave of nostalgia. I was there back in 2016 when Overwatch first released, so I got to see this game in the absolute highest of the highs, and I gotta say, for as popular as Marvel Rivals is right now, it still doesn't compare to the amount of hype that people had for Prime Overwatch. And going over a few games, playing a couple of matches, you could see that the core gameplay that made Overwatch what it was is still there. A lot of the characters still play very similar to the way that they used to, even if the team dynamic has changed completely. I'm
gonna be honest, when I look at Overwatch gameplay now, I don't see that. I think people just look at it with tinted red rose glasses. Every time I see that game now, I'm like, wow, like, this looks so boring and so like stationary. Like, in Marvel Rivals, it feels so, there's so much more movement and there's so much more you can do. And obviously that's because it's a new game, but Overwatch could update these things. They could add, like, new things to these heroes. They could rework, like, any companies will say they can't do these things until you stop playing their game and they actually have to put in the work. And obviously that doesn't mean that every company will, but the ones that actually need the money, like Blizzard doesn't need the money. Overwatch can fail. They don't care. Like, Diablo can fail. They don't care. They have enough money. They make the point for them isn't to make a successful game. Their point is to make a game fun enough for a long enough time for them to milk as much money from you as possible, and then they'll just add something new. Or they'll add an expansion to trick you in coming back, and then they'll milk you for more money. That is their whole business model. And they also have mobile games too, and then they have COD, and COD's gotten even more scummy. They milk you for everything you can now. It's crazy. I forgot about COD, by the way, sorry, but I would literally rather play any other shooter than COD.
Design of the characters from the roster and the level of details in the map are still top notch. I won't take that away from Blizzard, but for some reason, I just really couldn't find that Blizzard magic that people used to be so addicted to when I was playing Overwatch 2. I felt like I was playing a shell of something that used to be great. Sort of like when you arrive late at a party once everything's died down and there's just a mess everywhere. That's how it felt to play Overwatch 2. Every now and then you could see a little reminder of all the bad decisions that Blizzard made throughout the years. I mean, you can go to the PvE interface, for example, that's on an obscure corner of the UI, and you can see how they added like 7 different quips for Winston when you click on the peanut butter jar, some random emails that are just like a poor attempt at storytelling, but the PvE itself, you know, the main thing that they're supposed to be selling there, is obviously super lackluster. And it really makes you wonder how different Overwatch could have been if they had done all the things that they originally promised. You also got a little icon on the top of the menu telling you about the new experimental 6v6 format that they added to the arcade mode, and that's just another reminder of how badly they messed up the team compositions and how much they had to rework a lot of the characters just to be able to shoehorn the 5v5 format for Overwatch 2. And they spent so long trying to gaslight the community, telling them that 5v5 was better for the game, it was going to be the future of Overwatch, just for them to come crawling back to 6v6. And of course you have the dreaded battle pass in the game. Like, do you guys remember when Overwatch 2 first came out that you had to either buy the battle pass or grind for X amount of hours just to be able to play the brand new heroes of the season? They were locking most of the hype of brand new content that was added to the game behind a paywall, and they were basically telling you that you gotta pay some money if you want to play the new characters on time.
See, I told you guys, the milking strategy. Get them to come back in, milk them for as much as you can until they leave, and then hook them back in, milk them again. You catch and release over and over again, except it's the same freaking fish.
Which is such an outdated monetization strategy that it almost feels scummy at the end of the day. You know, giving you a brand new hero on day of release is like the biggest motivator to want to play the game in the first place, so I don't know exactly what they were thinking there other than just like, hey, this is just another way we can milk the community for more money. But even games like Apex Legends knew how to handle the situation with locked heroes because—
Bro, no one plays Apex Legends anymore, bro. I'm gonna be real with you, I don't know a single person who does.
even though they have a similar system, they still let you stack up on legend tokens as you level up and play the game regularly, so by the time that the new season hits, you can just get the new legend immediately with no wait time. I can't really explain the feeling you get when you play Overwatch 2 today.
They literally had a Fortnite skin in there. Wait, did you guys see that? That's literally a Fortnite skin. I have that Fortnite skin. This right here. Look at it.
Stack up on legend tokens as you level up and
look at that. That literally looks exactly like that one Fortnite skin, bro. Like based on it.
Regularly. So by the time that the new
like obviously it's a little bit more robotic and techno style, but like it is literally the same concept. Like that is crazy.
New season hits, you can just get the new legend immediately with no wait time. I can't really explain the feeling you get when you play Overwatch 2 today when compared to playing Prime Overwatch, but it's sort of like you're playing something to remind yourself of how fun the game used to be, not because the game in its current state is fun. The community just feels tired and miserable, and it feels like
Yeah, I really need them to add something like Apex. Like, dude, the Apex needs to get its shit together, because, dude, I miss the glory days of Apex, bro. And they need to, like, update Titanfall 2 or Titanfall 3, dude. That shit is, they need to make a Titanfall 3 or update Titanfall 2, because, dude, I go back and play that game, like, so much sometimes. Like, that's, like, a throwback game, honestly.
But it's just dragging their feet to play Overwatch,
so
and it's just hilarious to see, honestly, because you look over your shoulder and you see what Marvel Rivals is doing.
Yeah.
Everybody's having fun over there, you know? It's all sunshine and rainbows. The party's happening at Marvel Rivals. So when you see the contrast between Overwatch 2, it's just like two different universes. You know, the contrast is insane. And the weirdest thing about it is that when you look at it from the perspective of which one of the two games is more complete, Overwatch obviously has 8 years of content behind it, you know? It has the unranked mode.
I'm gonna be honest with you, that doesn't look like 8 years of content, and I'm gonna be honest with you even more. It looks like a game, it honestly looks like a cheap phone game ripoff of like Marvel Rivals, even though Marvel Rivals took inspiration from Overwatch.
Has ranked, it has the arcade mode, so plenty of opportunities to play the game however you want. There's also the community workshop, which I totally forgot about, but when I got back into the game, I was like, oh crap, I forgot they have this feature. You know, it just gives people endless opportunities to make their own games and keep things fresh. Like, I was playing 2D Overwatch, for example.
Okay, that looks fun. The other mode before that looked boring as hell. This looks like some Smash Bros shit.
You know, it was the stupidest thing imaginable, but it was entertaining at the end of the day, you know?
I think it would have been more fun if they gave everyone, like, if they gave all the characters, like, if you can give them all rocket boosters, and then you added platforms, and then it would basically be like Smash Bros.
It was fun content, so there was a real sense of freedom to do this sort of thing in Overwatch, and obviously Marvel Rivals doesn't have that. But the reality is that Marvel Rivals doesn't really need that right now. They don't need to have all that extra content, they just need to have something that the players want to play, because for as much stuff that you can find in Overwatch, without the players, it's not really, it's meaningless to have all of that. It's just like, oh, you have all this content, but no one's really using it. So in terms of what could Overwatch add on top of what they already have to try to win back the player base, I genuinely have no idea, because from my perspective, this is already a completed game. Everything that they wanted to add, they already did. And everything that they decided not to add was already cancelled or just implemented poorly. So what more could they realistically do to bring Overwatch back? It's not like they can just re-announce that they're going to be working on PvE again. I don't think it's going to work a second time. Let's do a quick hypothetical here, because if I was in charge of the Overwatch brand, now let's say that I had enough money to do whatever the hell I wanted to try to fix the game, I think that the one thing that would bring the players back wouldn't be to add more things into Overwatch 2, but kind of like do the opposite, do like an entire refresh of the brand. Like imagine if Blizzard came
They already tried that. That was Overwatch 2.
out tomorrow and announced
The
Overwatch.
copium.
That's it. No Overwatch 2, no Overwatch 3, they just announced Overwatch. It sounds stupid, I know, it sounds simple, but at the same time, kind of genius.
No, but you're just gonna get farmed. Wait, sorry, we need to get off this white
I think
screen.
the first thing
Okay. Guys, like that is literally how you get farmed. That is back to the catch and release method. They're just gonna re-catch you and then they're gonna release you after they've milked you for the money. Like it's so stupid. People are like, oh, I want this. It's such a good idea. Yeah, good idea for the company, not you. Like, oh my god, man. Oh my god.
would do would be to get rid of the 2 in Overwatch 2. Maybe bring the roster down a little bit and, get rid of some of the forgettable characters, bring back the 6v6, and kind of just go from there. Because believe it or not, that little number brings out so much hate from people because it signifies a point in time where Blizzard made its betrayal of the community's trust.
You tell people to get rid of certain characters, but there are people who like playing those characters, and that is going to alienate them and make them upset. And then that's going to make more people go to Marvel Rivals. Because I'm sure there are people left playing Overwatch who really like these characters, and if you get rid of certain characters, and those certain characters are the ones they're playing, like even if 1% of players is only playing Genji, for example, not true, but I'm just saying, like, they're going to be upset if you removed them. You know what I mean?
2 in Overwatch 2 stood for so many different things when it was first announced, and having it right now, it's like a constant reminder of all the things that Blizzard failed to deliver. That's when they brute forced Overwatch into a 5v5 format that ruined so much of the game's identity because so many of the characters were built for the 6v6 format, so they had to rework so many things just to get them to barely function. Overwatch 2 was also going to be the point where they were finally going to expand the Overwatch universe with its story-driven PvE campaign mode. Actually, the PvE was the main selling point and the whole reason for the whole sequel in the first place.
And they canceled
I don't know if you guys remember, but Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 were supposed to coexist with each other, with Overwatch 1 being the competitive hero shooter and Overwatch 2 being much more focused around the PvE with the story and the character development and the talent system, all of that stuff. What ended up happening in the end was that Overwatch 2 ended up absorbing Overwatch 1. The PvE went from being a fully featured standalone experience to getting seasonal story missions that were honestly just dull and had no replayability, to then finally having the story missions cancelled altogether. So obviously this left a lot of players asking the question, what was all of that for? All Overwatch 2 had to show for itself at the end of the day was a 5v5 format and the Battle Pass monetization, which, to be honest, a lot of people love to criticize because it's
and the more expensive skins.
a direct downgrade from what they had before. So bringing Overwatch back to the...
Okay, but loot boxes, like, even though I like them, on a moral, like, not necessarily a moral level, but, well, I guess it'd be moral, I don't know, like, on a level, it's like, you are teaching and manipulating and conditioning kids to gamble, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't, like, because you can spend money for these loot boxes. If you couldn't spend money, then I guess it'd be a little different, but even then, you're still giving them, like, the thrill of the spin, you know what I mean? It's kind of bad.
Roots of what made it into a wild sensation would probably be a step in the right direction. And even though loot boxes have always been seen as a net negative in the gaming industry because of its random chance gambling mechanics and how some countries just outright ban it, the original Overwatch actually did a pretty good job at using a monetization system that, even though it was all about the loot boxes and everything, it actually felt fair. It was fair for the players because even if...
Yeah, I agree, it did feel fair. I just don't like I understand that it's a good faith argument. I just don't like the idea that it is technically conditioning, and it's not just this game. Like, there are so many games that are conditioning kids to get into gambling. And if you look into those videos, like if you look online at like the, you know, the research and the statistics, like there are people starting gambling, like a lot of people start gambling at 12 years old, whether it's CSGO. You know, CSGO is like the most popular one, but there are other games too, you know.
If you spent $0 on microtransactions, you still got rewarded for playing the game. You know, you still got free loot boxes, you were still getting some cool cosmetics simply by leveling up. So when Overwatch decided to ditch the old monetization model and introduce the Battle Pass system, well, not only did the quality of the free cosmetics drop dramatically, but now because of how Battle Passes work, they're basically forcing you to put in the work and play through the whole thing if you want to actually feel like you're getting your money's worth. And the whole thing ends up just feeling scummy and exploitative because, you know, that's just how Battle Passes work. And honestly, that's where Overwatch 2 is at right now. You know, for a game that once felt like it was unkillable, from a studio that felt like could just do no wrong, and everything that they pumped out was nothing but bangers, now they're just stuck in a constant downtrend, and it's a pretty clear example of what can happen if you don't respect the players that, at the end of the day, either make or break your game. It doesn't matter how complete your game is, it doesn't matter how fluid the movement is, or how many peanut butter quips you decide to add. If you try to take advantage of your player base and treat them like crap over the years, you know, sure, you might stay on top because there's no other direction for them to go, but Marvel Rivals dethroning Overwatch by doing the bare minimum of just giving the players what they want in a fun hero shooter was just bound to happen. So whether Overwatch can do anything to pull people back into their game, or whether this is just like the final nail in the coffin for them, I don't really know. But if you had to ask for my opinion, even if Marvel Rivals ends up falling off, I don't think Overwatch 2 is just gonna magically come back because of it, you know? Because the damage that Blizzard did throughout the years is already done. And if it's not Marvel Rivals, someone else is gonna come in and finish the job. That's what I think, because at the end of the day, you know, Overwatch really has nothing left.
Yeah, which is pretty true. Yeah, so I do... sorry, brain. Okay. I do wonder if Marvel Rivals will stay. I think it is going to stay, but I know there's a lot of speculation, and I am kind of worried that they'll do something similar to what Blizzard does and Overwatch did, where they kind of flipped it on everyone and made them, you know, made it super scummy, more monetized, super unmonetization friendly and base player friendly, whatever you want to use the word. And they like... I'm worried about the empty promises that are come to be, because obviously Overwatch didn't start out bad, but eventually it did. But the difference between Overwatch and Marvel Rivals is Blizzard has been like that for 10 years. Yeah, I would say about 10 to 15 years. They have been like this. They have been a monetization hungry machine. So maybe because it's a different company, but obviously all companies are about making money, but it just depends how they do it. So we'll see. But yeah, I really enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe to Just Stay Steven. The link will be in the description below to his channel and the video. Check out his other videos if you liked it. And yeah, tell me what you guys thought about all this stuff. I know we covered a lot of topics in one topic. I just kind of like... it just kind of irritates me, like including Overwatch 2. Like that was one of my first videos ever, was literally like getting pissed at this game, like Overwatch 2 and all the stuff. So I guess it's kind of like it's kind of a gash spot, like a little an open wound they're just rubbing salt in. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Peace.